Hey everybody, Grimble here. Welcome back. Today we're going to be reacting to Vinland Saga Episode 2. So last episode, as the first episodes normally go, we're introduced to a bunch of characters. We have Thors, who is a really good warrior, and he was seen pretty early on in the episode, in the middle of a battle, dreaming of his family and his home. Goes through this really gruesome fight, which was really cool to see. A lot of great action, and then a bunch of ships burning in the background. And then we cut to a small little town in a very icy place. And then we see a young boy who we find out is Thorfinn, and who is the son of Thor's. So we've got a lot of Thor names going on here. It's kind of hard to keep track of as a new viewer, but I'll get the hang of it eventually. So we see Thorfinn as a very adventurous kid, dreamer type of kid. He seems very enamored by these stories of lands elsewhere. And I don't really blame him, because the place that they live in seems like hell. It's really cold. Apparently people are dying. The winters are getting worse. The livestock can't even survive anymore. So things are not good for the people that live in this town. And I believe you find out that it is, in fact, in Iceland. So no wonder it's a very difficult and challenging place to live in. And you also find out that they used to live in Norway. Their ancestors are from Norway, who ran away from Norway because of a king, a ruthless person that took over, declared himself king, the first king of Norway, and either demanded follow his rule, take the knee, or get the hell out kind of thing. And so a lot of people that couldn't stand his tyranny, they left and apparently went to Greenland, and now they're still suffering because Greenland is a very treacherous place to live in, it seems. So yeah, Thorfinn is just wanting to get out with good reason, and he sort of has that, I guess, Disney character Moana type of vibe where they just are dreaming of being elsewhere other than where they currently are. And he's wanted to get on a boat. He's wanted to go take these adventures and live out these stories that he's being told to by this old man. I guess his name is Leif. Which is a very interesting name, but at least it's easy to remember. And Leif has a lot of great stories of when he found this place that he called Vinland, which sounds like paradise, essentially. It's this green pastures, rich soil, much warmer temperatures, beautiful weather. The way that he just boasts about this land gets Thorfinn really excited, and he wants to go right away. But most of the episode is spent just kind of, getting to know these characters and the family. You meet Thorfinn's sister and Thor's daughter, Yelva, I believe. I'll get it right eventually. But she seems like a very rambunctious girl and seems like a really good big sister too. She really cares about Thorfinn. And she's also the one that stumbles upon this man in the ice who we find out is a slave. So we get a little background about slavery existing in this world. Makes sense for the time period. Anyways, this slave had escaped his master and ran all the way over to this village with hardly any clothes on in the middle of a crazy winter, ends up at Thor's front door, and he is practically dead at that point. Thor's manages to bring him back to life somehow, but seems like it's very temporary. But even before all that happens, before the man dies, Thor's decides to purchase him from his master, who comes back to reclaim him. And his master seems like a very nasty, terrible man. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I don't know why Thor's did it. I guess we'll find out in this episode, but it was not a wise business decision because he ended up paying 8 sheep when this slave was only purchased for 2 at the time. And then he dies right after that. So, I don't know. Like I said in the reaction before, Thor doesn't seem like a stupid guy, so maybe he had his reasons. It was out of sympathy. I don't know. Hopefully we'll find out in the next episode. So with that all out of the way, let's get into Vinland Saga Episode 2. If you guys are interested in signing up to my Patreon, You'll be able to take advantage of ad-free content, 3 to 4 weeks early access to all reactions, which for the middle tier and above can include the full-length watch-along reactions. Those that subscribe to the highest tier will also be supporting my game and animation studio, Little Grim Entertainment. You'll have access to a sneak peek look at all of our upcoming games and animated shows. Northumbria. Okay, it is England.
It was a Saturday, and Vikings always bathed on that day.
They bathe 1 day a week.
The English were aware of this weekly custom and decided they should exploit it.
Oh. That's kind of rude, man. They're naked. Wow. Damn. Oh. You kind of expect this from Vikings, not from the English, but, I mean, war is war.
We can turn this around! Yeah! I just took down Snura!
That's gotta hurt. Those two are really good at playing dead.
The battlefield went that way. Dead bodies aren't supposed to talk, remember? Guess
How long did they have to lay there?
Killed early too, don't you, Faxi?
What? You're sailing out tomorrow? Oh, lucky! So where are you heading?
Off to Norway, but it isn't for fun. I have some goods to trade.
So they're going back to So they can't go back to Norway? They just can't stay.
Oh no.
Seemed like they were banned at
There
first.
isn't enough room. Thorfinn, can you go and pass on a message to your father for me? A warship has arrived.
Wow. That's scary.
They asked for Thor's the Troll and have been waiting like that ever since.
Thor's the troll.
Do you think they could mean our Thors?
Oh wow.
Oh, it's
They
the
all bowed their
square head guy.
Far, right, Floki?
Oh, it's Floki.
We haven't
Okay.
seen each other since the Norway campaign, have we, Thors?
Norway campaign. Okay, so he was involved in that scuffle.
Here at the end of the earth, they staged a surprise attack while the people of the village were bathing. And among those killed, there was also a noblewoman named Gunhilda, sister of Sweyn, the king of Denmark. A massive battle is about to begin soon. The Jomsvikings will ally with Denmark when the fighting kicks off.
Do as you so choose. This is a village at the edge of the world. We aren't concerned with any kingdoms that lie beyond the north.
Seems more like a pacifist now.
Gave us a direct order. It doesn't even matter if there are those who were deserters.
Deserter. Oh.
Understand this. Sigvaldi's giving you this great opportunity out of his own goodwill. After you disappeared 15 years ago, you've been honored with the chance to return to the battlefront, overlooking every...
So has he been in hiding this whole time?
That's how badly our leader wants to rely on the combat skills of Thor's the Troll again.
Hear that? A war! Awesome. This'll be my first time. They sailed all the way across the ocean just to invite Thors to rejoin their army. Sorry.
These men just dwarf them.
You realize, I'm not a child running an errand. If you tell me that you're not willing to join us in this upcoming battle, we won't be able to go back empty-handed. You understand,
Oh boy.
don't you?
The Jomsvikings. They're a mercenary army. Who would have ever thought Thor used to be one of their members?
Are they strong?
Yes, indeed. So strong, in fact, that the king of Vinland,
So nobody in this village really knows him.
mightiest force in the northern sea.
Hear me, villagers! I am Floki of the Jomsvikings. At the orders of my master, I came to this land to ask the hero Thor Snorrisson to join us. He has agreed and has answered our great leader's request by promising to provide one warship for our cause. Let those who have what it takes follow him and come with us to Jomsborg before we go to war!
Off to war!
Wow.
That's amazing!
Even that old man's interested. Yeah, Yes, I finally can stab him in again.
Tomorrow.
I used to make a living by running others through with my sword. But one day, I realized that I'd grown sick of it. So I ran away.
Oh, at the beach, he didn't go back.
Thought I'd disguised my death fairly well, but it appears I was wrong. Viking law never forgives deserters.
No kidding. Ow. Oh, he's fired up. He's ready. Oh.
I got him. Just see me spear him right in the back.
Ow.
Hey, you should
That's
have
against the
Edward. You
rules.
just got killed. You okay? Wait, come back here.
Screw the rules. Maybe he's not that excited after all. Probably realizing what this means, that his dad's gonna be gone.
You can come and take a look at my boy.
Your
Oh,
arms were-
wow.
This is far too rough for child's play.
Wow.
Thorfinn hit him with his sword.
Wait, my son did this? I'm truly sorry about that. I'll go have a word with him.
Oh, I wouldn't worry about this. It's all between kids.
It's so funny. There's just this time is like, kids be breaking other kids' arms. Whatever.
That gear was passed down from your grandfather, so make him proud.
That thing is enormous.
Spears are the best weapons by far. Oh, you want to fight about it?
I have a feeling they won't be so confident when they're actually in the thick of it.
You need to stop tossing your things all over the place.
Very motherly sister.
What are you doing now? Making a mess in the storage too?
I just need to find a real weapon, as if I had one.
Oh, is that the chest we saw in the first episode? I was like, this must be important. Yeah. Is that his dad's old gear? Wouldn't he be taking it? Tiny little blade.
So pretty.
Oh. Oh my god. It's a little dramatic.
A sword is a tool meant to kill. Why do you need it? Whose life do you intend to take?
It's a good way to phrase it.
Your enemies? Who are they?
Are they? Yeah.
Listen to me, my son. You don't have enemies. The truth is that nobody has them. Nobody in this entire world deserves to get.
Really has become a pacifist.
Father, aren't you going to war tomorrow? You plan on killing your enemies. I'm not a baby.
Doesn't
You
understand.
are telling me the truth.
Thorfinn! Oh, come on!
She seems so... I don't know, just no personality, nothing.
Look after him.
I just don't... It seems like the sister is more the mother in this scenario, and she's just kind of... Every time you see her, she's just got this blank stare, like... I don't know, it's interesting. Faroe Islands, where's this?
Well, here we go. Christian monk, if you dodge it, I'm gonna kill you.
Oh!
Hey, I saw that priest! Dodging bastard! You're dead, you hear me?
I mean, he would have been dead otherwise, so...
Maybe you're just bad at it.
Hey, what's the matter, Yams Vikings? Why don't you guys come have a drink with us?
They remind me of those, oh god, what are they called? The military soldiers that Daenerys had in Game of Thrones.
Hey, Escalade.
Just unfazed by anything,
Don't care
just
much for Christians.
there for killing.
That's all it is, Floki. But enough about that. Let's get down to business, shall we?
5 pounds of gold, as we agreed. But you won't get any of it unless it's in exchange for his corpse.
Talking about
Just be
Thor's?
sure that Thor's is dead.
Oh. Wow. Okay. Okay, guys. We just wrapped up Vinland Saga Episode 2. It was an interesting episode. It started to tie some of the questions I had from the first episode, tie it up a little bit, start answering a bit of those questions. Like, what was that battle at the beginning of the first episode? It was some sort of battle in Norway, and the men that Thor was with were these group of Vikings. I forget what they're called, but it's a group of very strong mercenary Vikings. So they're up for hire, whoever wants to hire them. They seem very, very powerful and clearly have a reputation. They're very feared. And it doesn't seem that the village that Thor's is living in now had any idea that Thor's was one of them at one point. So yeah, that's kind of what we saw, I'm assuming, in that first episode at the very beginning. Thor's was envisioning his family. He missed his family. He was getting sick and tired of all the fighting and the battling and bloodshed and killing, and he just wasn't happy being that person anymore. As he's envisioning his wife and a child, probably his first oldest daughter, he wanted to be with them. And so he found this opportunity. He got in this fight with this guy, ends up in the water, washes up ashore, and just looks up and decides, I'm out. I'm done. That's kind of what I've gathered. He just ditched at that moment, became a deserter. Well, he, at first, tried to fake his own death somehow. We don't know how just yet, but he tried to pretend like he was dead, and so that they wouldn't bother him ever again, and hide in some remote village that he must have found with his family. And it looks like they found him. So Floki is, I guess, the leader of these Viking mercenaries. He ended up tracking down where Thor's is, visiting this village, and insisting that he comes back and raids with them and fights with them. And if he doesn't, well, then he's going to have to take it out on the village, essentially. So Floki doesn't seem like a very decent guy, but he also seems very well trained and very intimidating. And Thor's clearly knows that despite his strength and abilities, he probably wouldn't be able to take all of them out on his own. So he has no choice but to go with them, give in to their demands, which apparently is more than just Thor's. They want Thor's to take an entire warship's worth of men along with him into this battle. And so a lot of these villagers, the younger guys in this village, are very excited and ecstatic about this idea of going to war. I don't know if it's just they hate where they live so much, or maybe it's just that Viking culture. They were raised to believe, in Valhalla, and if the only way to get to Valhalla is to die in a great battle as a warrior or live your life as a warrior, so that's all they ever wanted. And so just this idea of going into battle and fighting is very exciting to them, and they seem very cocky, and it's one of those things that I can tell that those that haven't seen a war or been in a war don't realize the traumas and everything that comes with that. And so I imagine once they actually get into combat, their attitudes are going to change pretty quickly. I also kind of imagine it's going to now be up to Thor's to train these men and get them ready and prepared for battle, because they don't seem like they've ever seen, some haven't even killed a man before, probably never been in a battle before, so it's likely that they are very, very weak and not trained at this time. So it's probably going to be up to Thor's to make sure he trains them and gets them to fighting shape. Now then we have Thorfinn, his son, and when he hears this news, at first he seemed really excited, and then he seems really determined to go out to battle with his dad, and he takes it a little overboard. He was playing with his friends all the time. He's always usually the first one dead. Doesn't ever seem to, take it seriously. But on this day, he took it way too seriously. He ended up injuring friends of his. The kids were really mad that he did that. And he just took it a little too far. But he just seemed like he had all this aggression and anger that he wanted to get out somehow, which was kind of a flip, because at first I thought he was just excited, and then it turned to this uncontrolled rage, it seems like, where he was taking out his frustrations of not being able to go and join his father into battle on the kids that were around him. And then he takes that frustration, he goes back home, and he's looking for a weapon. He's tired of these wooden weapons. I guess having a real weapon will make him feel like a warrior and feel like he deserves to be in battle and go with his father. And he opens up this chest, and in this chest is a bunch of what looks like his dad's old gear from when he was one of these Viking mercenary warriors. And he picks up one of the smaller swords, opens it up, and remarks that it's beautiful. And then his dad comes in and grabs it by the blade and starts bleeding and has some really important words for Thorfinn. He doesn't phrase it like you're too young to go into battle or you're not mature enough or any of that stuff. He phrases it like, who are you going to use this on? These weapons are for killing. Who are you going to kill? I don't know, the enemy. Who's your enemy? You don't know these people. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what their past is. You don't know who their family is. You don't know their story. You know, they're somebody's son, daughter, husband, and you're going to go fight them and you're going to kill them. You have to understand that if you're going to draw a blade. And I think that's really what Thors is trying to get Thorfinn to understand is this is serious. This isn't play. This isn't your little games with your friends. This is war. And the end result of war is death. But Thorfinn doesn't really seem to want to hear it. He doesn't seem to take well to the advice. He just gets mad and storms off. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Thorfinn does with this information. Unfortunately, I've seen, bits of the intro, and I also know that my friend Alex eventually voices Thorfinn, so I know he grows up at some point and is a bit of a warrior, it seems like. So something must happen to where he ends up going over there to fight when he's older. And I hope it's not that Thors dies and he feels the need to take his place or something like that. But it's probably the most likely scenario is that Thors does end up dying. The other thing I find kind of interesting is they didn't mention the slave really at all in this episode. It seemed weird because I had all these questions. Like, why did he pay for the slave? Why did he do all, was it just to be, he felt sorry for him? Did he see some sort of value in him? What was the reason he gave up his livestock for this guy that was clearly on death's row? And I don't know. Maybe they won't answer the questions I have. I guess I'm just going to have to get past that and just move on to wherever this story takes us next. But who knows? Maybe they'll revisit it in a flashback or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't know how they'll tie it in eventually. But it is a little odd that they just said, okay, that happened in the first episode and just forget about it now. Now, Thor's his wife, Helga. I don't know what's going on with her. She seems, it's hard to explain. She's just not there. It doesn't seem like she has a personality. She just seems like kind of like a doll. It's very odd, and maybe it's just how she's always been. But I don't get that sense because in the first episode, when you first see her, it's in Thors' sort of dream memory. It's such a weird thing to say. Thors is in his dream, he sees his wife, and she seems very bubbly. Hi, Thors. I was getting a bubbly personality out of that, and I haven't seen that. So I don't know if something happened to her. I don't know if she witnessed something. I don't know if she's gone through some trauma since then, and it's just left this shell of a woman. I don't know, and maybe it's just she didn't have an important role in these first couple episodes, so they didn't spend a lot of time allowing us to get to know her as a character. Because, man, I feel like we know her daughter a lot more than her. Her daughter has a lot of personality, but she just, I don't know. It's weird. Very odd. Yeah, maybe I'm reading too much into it. It could very well be the case, but I just get a very odd sense whenever she's had scenes or you see her around or she even speaks, because it's not a lot. But yeah, guys, that's all I really got for this episode. Curious to know what you guys thought about it. Of course, a lot of you are probably way far ahead in the series. I know there's 2 whole seasons out. There's 20-some episodes each season, so I do have a lot of catching up to do, but I am curious if you remember your thoughts in these first few episodes. Please don't spoil anything for me in the comments, but do let me know. Did you guys even remember the slave guy from the first episode? And were you confused that they didn't touch on that in the second episode? Did you get the same sense of his wife being a little off in these first couple episodes? You know, again, that could just be me. Anyways, as always, guys, please like the video if you enjoyed the content today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. It would really, really help me out trying to grow this channel. I really want to keep doing this. It's been a lot of fun so far. I have a lot of plans, a lot of ideas for different things I want to do, including an analyze and compare section where I take something that I've already seen, which the first one will be One Piece live action, and I compare it to its source material, so the anime. Otherwise, guys, it's been a lot of fun. I can't wait for the next episode, and I'll see you guys in the next reaction.